So good. I hope everybody can see my screen now as I start the session tonight. Can everybody see my screen? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
I can hear you.
good. Good, good, good. So, welcome to today's session on support and resistance. And I want you to understand something that support and resistance can also be known as your key levels. Yeah, they can also be identified as your key levels. You can call them key levels. Yeah, because when we are talking about key levels, it's just some potential levels, right, which are important in the financial market or where price tends to what to react from. So, diving into support and resistance, what are support and resistance? Support and resistance in technical analysis is just a key concept that is used by traders to identify levels in the financial markets. Yeah, or we can put it is that uh, it's a concept that is used in technical analysis that is used to what to identify potential levels of reward of a financial instrument price, where price can gain significant reversal or pullbacks. So these are what support and resistance mean. And now these particular levels on support and resistance are being determined by what past price movements. Now, when we are talking about price movements, what do we mean? Everything on my screen here, everything you can see here are actually what price movements. Everything at all that you can see on my screen here are what we call price movements. Now, quickly moving on, uh, these particular levels, I will try to break them into what into two. I'll talk about support itself, and I'll talk about resistance itself. Now, when we are talking about support on its own, support just refers to uh, a price level which buying pressure is expected to be strong. Do you understand? A level which we expect buying pressure to be strong enough towards to prevent price from falling down further. When we talk about support, it means when something is trying to hold something back from moving either downward or from dropping down to a particular level. Now, when we are talking about support, what do we mean? Now, when we have something of this nature, we have a straight line, right? Let me draw a straight line. Or let me have a box here. Let me have a box. We have this particular point. Let me try to label the box for proper guidance. We have support. Now, when we have this as our support, right, and we explain support as a particular level that prevents price from falling down further, and we expect more buying pressure at that point. What do this mean? It actually means that when we have price coming down, probably we have a downtrend, something of this nature. Price is what falling down. Yeah, let's say price is falling down. Then price tap into this point. Now, when price tap into a support zone, what do we expect? We expect a push upward, then something of this nature, probably. Yeah, something of this nature. And we move. Then what happened? This is what? A support. This is what? A support zone. Or we can still put it like this, just straight ahead. Can put it like this. When price is coming, we tap into this. And what? Price move. Continuing and what? Or let's put it this way. When we are talking about, you talked about something earlier on, an inducement. Then let's put it this way. When we have this particular point as an inducement, and we have people trying to buy immediately from here, and they ignore that point as an inducement, then we have price coming back into what? That support zone, taking out everybody that are buying immediately from that point, which is from this point here. Then price come back into the support zone and continue its movement. And this is what we call support. Are we following up? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. So that is what we call a support. Now, when we are talking about resistance, resistance is just the opposite of what? Support. And it's like this. Let's say we have resistance. Now, a resistance zone is a price level at which selling pressure is expected to be strong enough to prevent price from what? From pushing up further. What does that mean? It means when we have something like this, price coming from a support, pushing in an uptrend, then creating something like this, then come into that point. Immediately price comes into that support. What do you expect? We expect price coming what? Downward. Then price can go back upward again, tap that resistance, sell down aggressively, and that is what we call what? A resistance zone. Very, very simple. Now, how do we draw support and resistance? Now, the first key thing I want you to understand is we can draw support and resistance zone in a trending market. Now, in a trending market, that is where we have to talk about stuffs like trend line support and resistance. Now, what do we mean by a trending market? A trending market just actually means an uptrend, right? And what? Uptrend and what? A downtrend. That is what we mean by what? A trending market, uptrend and what? A downtrend. Now, when we are now talking about this type of support and resistance in a trending market, this is what we mean. When we have price coming like this, up, down, yeah, in a bearish market, we have price doing something of this nature. Now, when we have this, what do we expect? This is what we expect. You know, all these points automatically becomes what? Resistance, because it's resisting what? Price from going upward. You can see when price actually gets to that point, it drops. When it gets to that point, it drops. And this is what we call trend line what? Resistance. Let's put it, let me label it. Trend line resistance. Yeah, trend line resistance. Now, when we are talking about trend line support, what do we mean? It means when price is in an uptrend and we are moving this way, this is a support, right? You can see when price taps on it, we move up. Tap on it, we move up. And this is called what? Trend line support. Easy as that. Now, we also have another type of support and resistance, which occurs in a ranging market. And in this ranging market, what do we mean by a ranging market? We mean when price is not trendy, price is just consolidating at a point. When price is what? Consolidating at a point, is not actually giving us, it's not trending, it's not giving a series of higher highs and lows, is not breaking structure. So this is what we call what? This is our resistance and This is our support, and this is the type of what support and resistance we have in a what in a ranging market. So it's as simple as that. And now this type of support and resistance that we have in a ranging market is called what? Horizontal support and resistance. Now this type of support and resistance that we have in a trending market is called what? Trendline support and resistance. Very, very simple. Now let me show you live examples on our chart on this trend line support and resistance. Now immediately at this point, what can you notice here? From this point here, you can notice that this is what? A trend line support, sorry, trend line resistance. Let me increase the, what's it called? So this is what? Resistance, right? This is resistance, trend line resistance here. Now when we are talking about trend line support, what do we mean? This is what? An example of trend line support, something of this nature. Trend line support. Here, support. Sorry, support. Are we following? Now, when we are talking about examples of ranging support, which is the horizontal support and resistance, we can classify this as what? These points. You can see how price came into that point several times. This is what? Resistance, right? And the one below here, you can actually call these points, all these points here, our support. It does not matter whether price broke through this point. It's a what? Support. Easy and simple as that. If you go through your charts, you see several examples. All these points are actually what? Resistance. All these points are resistance. Forget if price actually broke through these points. If we actually check through the main line charts, can you see how accurate this is? Very accurate. That is support and resistance level. I showed you trendline support and resistance. I showed you horizontal support and resistance. Very perfect as that. Now we have what we call flip zones. Yeah, flip zones in support and resistance. You actually know that when price is moving, right, we have something like this. We have the upper points as our resistance. Let's tag this as resistance. Then the lower point is our support. Now we don't actually expect price to we don't actually expect that price would just come into a support zone and keep moving up and down inside this support and resistance. Price is what's actually fractal. We need either an uptrend or a downtrend. So let's take, for example, price is consolidating or is ranging in between these points. Immediately it breaks this support, something like this. It breaks this support. Then what do we say? When a support is broken, you know, this was initially a support. Then price comes back to what? To tap into that point and sell down. What do we see? We say this support has flipped its role to become what? A resistance. Then we'll call it what? Flip zone. Flip zone. A what? A support that what? Flip its role to become what? A resistance. Then now we can actually call this resistance. We can call this what? A resistance, because price has what? Broke this point, which was initially our support, and tapped into it and what? Start selling down. Now what do we expect next? We expect that price can come back into this point and what? Sell down. And you can see it's now a flip zone, a resistance, a support turn what? Resistance. Very simple. Now let me show you an example of that in my charts. Let me show you some examples. Okay. Okay, let me use this point as a reference. Let's take, for example, we have all these points here. All these points at our what? Support, right? We have all these points as our support. Now, see what happened. You can see that price came into that point, was actually tapping on it multiple times. We have series of reactions at this point. 1, 2, several times. Now, after price tapped on it several times, what happened? Price sold down aggressively. Then price came back into that point and what? And tap on that point that was acting as a support before and sold down. Now we can call this what? A flip zone. Or we can say support flips to resistance. Very accurate and easy that way. Now, when we come to the of resistance, this is how it happens. We have the resistance at the top, right? Then we have our support at the down part, right? Now, what happened? When we have price coming into this point, tapping on it, then broke the resistance, then coming back into the resistance, tap on it again, then pushing up. Then we can say what? Our resistance turned support. So simple and easy. Let me actually show you some examples. Now at this place, this was a resistance. See what happened. This was a resistance. All these points was a resistance. What happened? After price broke through it, price did what? Price came back into it, tap on it, and moved. Simple as that. Now we can call all these points as a what? As a resistance to all these points. You can see, because price, if we should go to, let me scale down to a lower time frame and show you how it's happened at this point. All right. Let me quickly show you something. Oh, I can't go further, but let me just use what is available. I'm not using the premium version. So let's take, for example, at this point, immediately, where was that? I think I was using a point. Let me check through. Okay, at this point, you can say what? Resistance, flip it through to become what? Support. It's as simple as that. And that is all on what? Support and resistance. It's very basic. It's simple to understand. And by the time you go through this video several times, you'll be able to incorporate everything and still apply them on your charts. So it's simple. So this is where I'll be stopping for today. I am looking forward to having your questions. I am looking forward to your questions. Who have questions?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now? You know I will be disturbed.